Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. I've just come in from working in the yard. It's about 190 degrees outside, which is my favorite time to be outside. I love heat, love humidity, love August in the summertime in Columbus, Ohio, which is not the way most people feel about it. But I'll just start with a couple of announcements. Remember that the Diet and Lifestyle Intervention course starts this fall. And if you're not really sure that you want to train with us, it's a great place to start. It's a 15 class series, one big assignment at the end, and so not homework heavy. The lectures are great, and it covers a huge amount of material, like it's got cancer, autoimmune disease, gastrointestinal disorders, all kinds of women's health, men's health, children's health, learning how to read science as it pertains to nutrition, interpreting science of nutrition, etc. So that's a good program to start with, or a good course to start with if you want to get your feet wet with us. But we have all kinds of other great classes you can take this fall, and it is time. I mean, this week, next week is time to start talking to us about enrollment. Remember, I'm happy to have one-on-one conversations with any of you who are thinking of enrolling in these classes to give you more information, answer your questions, and that kind of thing, okay? And then remember the research boot camp that's coming up on September 1st. And this is going to be a 3-hour program. And it'll be a little bit different than the one we did last time, because I'm going to spend maybe an hour going over some basic concepts. And then we're going to do research together online. Like, you're going to open up your browser, and we're going to pick topics and outline, make an outline, start doing research as if you're writing a paper. And of course, some of you may just learn how to look things up for your own edification, but some of you are healthcare professionals who need to know a little bit more how to do this so that you can help people with informed decisions about their health, okay? So we priced it really cheap, $49 for members, $69 for non-members, because I think it's just a skill everybody needs to have. And then don't forget my book. As it turns out, everything I wrote last year is kind of coming true right now. So I'm not psychic. I'm just pretty good researcher, I guess. And I want to teach you how to do that, which we'll do on Wednesday, September 1st. All right, so today I want to talk about something. The time has come to talk about it a little bit. And I'm going to start with a quote that was in a publication that I subscribe to. "Sometimes our fate resembles a fruit tree in winter. Who would think that these branches would turn green again and blossom? But we hope it, we know it." In other words, things can look very bleak and cold and not pretty, and then beauty comes from it. And this is a quote from Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. All right. So that's a lead in to today's message, which I want to address several things. I mean, first, so many people out there are sideways about a lot of things right now. And those include kids and healthcare and school and life and jobs and neighbors and friends and ex-friends and churches and the news and the escalating price of food and gas. And there's just a lot to be anxious about. And it's hard not to be anxious sometimes. I mean, I'm certainly not going to suggest that this doesn't register with you. It registers with me. I feel anxious sometimes too. I can't afford to let myself stay there. And I think that's the next point I want to make, is let's acknowledge that there's a lot to be anxious about, but let's also tell ourselves, listen, it's bad to stay there in a state of despair, because then you give up hope. And it's also bad to panic. I have a term for this these days. It's called pants on fire. And this is when people just start flailing about and wasting a lot of energy and resources. Instead, I think the better thing is to just say, look, let's just get resolved to, develop a deep, that's going to work out in the end, and develop a deep inner knowing. And I think you have to work at that a little bit, that this is all going to come out okay if we work on it. And then get busy helping that to become a reality. And I'll come back to that later. But I think that thinking determines a lot of things. I think that I just covered a book, for example, called The Magic Feather Effect, an advanced study. It was a great book. I'm so glad I read it. But it's about the power of belief, and the power of belief to make things happen that you just wouldn't think could happen. So one story in the book that was very striking was a guy who was in a serious accident, and he ended up being a quadriplegic in a wheelchair. And he actually, through visualization and many other things he taught himself to do, was able to get himself out of the chair, walk around, and live a normal life. That's an extraordinary thing that is not really supposed to be able to happen, but he made it happen. And it didn't happen from sitting around believing. It happened from developing a belief and then acting on it. So I think it's imperative that we all get up every day and work on ourselves, starting with our mental attitude. I have to do it. And there are days I don't want to do it, to be honest with you, but I feel like I have to do it because all will be lost if we don't all focus. So some of you know I'm a World War II buff, and I find the whole period of time interesting and infinitely fascinating. And I get a lot of inspiration from the stories that I read about people who did extraordinary things to help others, often at their own peril. And I think the thing we can say is that major events bring out the best in people and the worst in people. And it's good to focus on the best in people once in a while and maybe try to emulate that behavior. So one of the heroes of the war, at least in my opinion, was Winston Churchill, who demonstrated incredible leadership under just horrific situations and circumstances. Somehow he developed the inner strength to remain steadfast, and he managed to reassure the Brits that all would be well eventually. What he did was really remarkable when you take into consideration the way he took office. On his first day as Prime Minister of England, Adolf Hitler invaded Holland and Belgium. Poland and Czechoslovakia had already fallen, and the Dunkirk evacuation was just 2 weeks away. For the next 12 months, Hitler would just inflict on Britain one of the most intense bombing campaigns in the history of war, killing 45,000 residents, British residents, and damaging tens of thousands of buildings in London alone. And so it was up to Churchill. I mean, he thought part of his duty was to hold everybody together and help them feel positive about a good outcome at the end. And, you know, I think about the odds that I have to deal with and some of the disasters I deal with every day. And I can't imagine what it would be like if somebody was dropping a bomb on buildings in downtown Worthington, you know. So anyway, Churchill was known for teaching the British people what he called the art of being fearless. He encouraged them to live as normally as possible in spite of what was going on. And I think that's one of the things I've done to keep myself sane, is just to look at what parts of my life can I have some normalcy, coming to work, talking to friends. You know, it's just easy to get caught up in being neurotic full time. I used to be really good at it, and I have to make myself not do it now. He was convinced, by the way, that the Allies would eventually get involved in the war, and that would be, or the United States would get involved with the war, and that would be eventually the thing that would propel the Allies to victory. And so he had to help keep everybody together and positive until that occurred. And he never wavered. I mean, on his 1-year anniversary as Prime Minister, one of the worst aerial attacks on London in the whole war took place. And in early 1941, and early December 1941, the United States joined the war. And of course, as you all know, the good guys won. But you just think about the amount of time and perseverance and just refusal to be depressed or downtrodden about anything that it took to survive that time. It's truly extraordinary. Churchill's eloquence, courage, and perseverance kept his citizens together and hopeful. And so, you know, due to the enormity of what we're all dealing with right now, I think we ought to bring out a little more of the Churchill in all of us. I think we need to reach down inside of ourselves and find something to be optimistic about every day. And there always is. I mean, today, pulling weeds and getting some sun, and there's something. I went for a run this morning and it was beautiful. And, you know, just even to be able to run is a gift. There are a lot of people who can't do it, you know. We need to demonstrate to others who have far worse problems than any of us have that there are reasons to be hopeful. And we all need to take action if we think we're going to survive this and make things better. I think another thing that's kept me sane is staying busy working on the issues, not you know, not too much time on your hands is not actually, idle hands, not a very good thing. Sitting's never been my thing, but I think during this time, had I not been occupied all the time with doing productive things, it would have been easy to sink into helplessness and hopelessness, you know, at least more than I have. So if you're thinking, gosh, you know, I'd like to pitch in and help with this stuff, start a Thursday group, get involved with our homeschooling program, our healthcare professional support program. We have a lot of wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things that we're doing that are making lives better for a lot of people. And I really think that if more people got busy doing something, they'd feel better. You'll meet new friends, you have a feeling of accomplishment, help others. You'll set an example for others who need to see good things happening. Nothing bad comes from volunteering your time and helping other people. And this is just an excellent opportunity to do that. Probably the more needed now than any time in our past. So send me an email at pampopper@msn.com, and I'll give you, if you have kids who need help, you're a parent who needs help, you're a healthcare worker who needs help, or you want to be a person who helps organize with us, send me an email and let me help you get started doing something productive every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes, that can put all of us in the pathway to a better life. So I just felt like I needed to say something about it because people, I can just feel oh gosh, things are just so oppressive. And I feel it too, I do. But I don't want to stay there. And I don't want you to stay there. And what I'm basically saying is getting involved in some of the stuff we're doing will help you not go there or stay there, and will help you help others too. And this really is a time when humans coming together to engage in things that actually make life better. I don't want to waste my time on stuff that doesn't, but things that actually make life better, it's time to do it. So send me an email. Let's get started. Let's get you started. And let's make the world a better place together. All right. That's all for today. As usual, pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy watching it. And I will be back to you tomorrow with more news.